What activity in P.D were you surprised that you were good at? Asthma and exercise-induced anaphylaxis. Jump rope. I don't know where that coordination came from or where it went. Start jump roping again. Really good way to get toned. You can burn up to 700 calorie hours, increase agility, and it's really not all that high impact if you don't do it on hard ground or jump too high. The idea of jumping rope for an hour makes me physically ill. How about running for an hour? Running while jump roping for an hour. That guy's in hospital now for thinking about this. I was one of the few who could climb the rope that hung down from the rafters. That was the one thing I was excited about in PE because I knew I'd be good at it. But we never tried it because it's not safe. Ain't that the way it always turns out? Just climb this 3-story rope with a 1-inch mat on the floor for safety. With or without feet. I could do it with feet, but just hands was a no-go. Also, this was in grade school. We didn't do it during normal gym class. I'm guessing they decided that it was a major safety issue, but we had an after-school program run by the YMCA that wasn't all that closely affiliated with the school. We got to try it there. Those sit-ups where you keep your palms flat against the ground and have to slide them across a line. I'm terribly unfit, but pretty great at those. Also the reach one arm over your shoulder and one around your side and touch fingers exercise. I can properly shake my hands with each other doing this. I can shake my hands too. Blows people's minds when I do fitness tests. Can you wing your shoulder blades by any chance? Attracting objects with my face. Baseballs, footballs, basketballs, shuttles, even a baseball bat once. I apparently have a small gravity field in my face. I got a concussion on my birthday with a magnetic face like that. Being told by a few classmates that it was unfair to have me and the kid with Down syndrome on the same team because it guaranteed the other team would win. Did you ever find a sport you were good at? I did much later. I must confess I never found a sport I was good at. Best case was football, the real one, which I was usually second or third worst in the group of 40ish because I played it several times a week in an effort to stay fit and improve. So with hours of practice a week for around 10 years, I managed to be among the top 95%. I was the king of getting picked last. Showering. It's surprisingly difficult if you are insecure, but turns out I didn't need to be insecure. Street hockey. I've never played any form of hockey in my life, but for whatever reason I was amazing in street hockey during PE. Same. My freshman year I scored 7 goals, including a overtime winner in a playoff game. We divided the gym class into several teams and played other periods teams. We came in third that year. I never got why hating gym class was such a common trope in sitcoms. The only unit I ever disliked was volleyball. Usually everyone was having a blast. Because all we did was run laps, do sit-ups, climb rope, from 4th till 10th. We had a fitness unit every year, where we did a lot of the stuff you mentioned plus a beep test, but most of the time we'd be learning a sport or activity. I forget which year it was, sometime in high school, we did a swing dance unit. Square dancing. Anybody else had square dancing as part of elementary PE? Are you in the US? I grew up in England, and we had country dancing, which was probably our equivalent. I liked it though, because I got to dance with the boy I had a crush on. Nice. Yeah, I'm in Texas specifically. It's pretty country western down here, so I guess square dancing might not be a universal PE section. Lol. Haha, yeah, makes sense. The country dancing we did in PE was like some kind of traditional English dancing, I guess. I actually live in California now, but I hope to travel to Texas someday. We always had like a month-long unit. I remember the guy who taught it. Really nice, and we were all little punks, so we called him Dry Hands Dave. He did have very dry hands, but the other option was wet hands, so anyway, it was honestly one of my favorite units in PE. I learned I was flexible during the president's thing, where you do all that dumb activities. One was measuring your flexibility. I killed it. Funny. That was the one I struggled with the most. It kept me from getting the award a couple times. It was the other 10 that stopped my awkward self from getting it. The President's Physical Fitness Award. I found out that I was better than average at the 600-yard run. Same. But it was push-ups for me. They lined a large group of us and started the count. We were supposed to keep going until we couldn't do any more. I got to the mid-teens before randomly looking up and seeing it was down to only me and a really athletic girl. As soon as I realized everyone was watching, I stopped. The other girl went on to do like 22. I actually regretted it almost immediately, but I was a way awkward teen, and getting attention in PE for something other than my 23-minute mile was jarring. Class fencing champion, yo. Once a year they busted out some decades-old fencing equipment for us to try to stab each other with. I was awful in PE, especially in athletics, except for high jump for some reason. I was average to slightly above average. Oh, and I was a good keeper. I was a big, uncoordinated girl who developed early and was relentlessly teased. If we didn't want to participate in PE, we had the option to write an essay. I opted for the essay and became a very good writer. Track and field. I run really fast and I can jump really high. I was super anti-sports in high school though. Wish I played soccer back then. Rounders. Weirdly enough, I had pretty good batting skills. Not caring that I came in last on the mile run every year. If we didn't run it in 30 minutes or less, we had to do it again, so I walked both times, every time. Not being able to smell myself after not showering. Discus one throw of that MF, and I was immediately put forward for the county tournament. I finished 4th. Hurdles. I remain mystified by this to this day. Standing jump. You could use me as proof that white guys can't jump. Running, 30 seconds full tilt will leave me winded for 12 hours. Yet to this day, if I have even just a fast walk of a start, I can hurdle over anything 4 feet or so or less without trouble. Fence, mailbox, whatever, don't even have proper form, just stepping jump over. Getting picked on and crying in the locker room. I mean foursquare. To be honest, I always either never participated or never showed up. The only time I participated is when we went out to the track. I could move at max speed on one of those little gym scooters you sit on. We'd have a tournament for our whole class, and I won like 6 years in a row. Still riding that high. Running, back to the changing room. I wasn't good really with anything in PE, but I had a lot of fun in archery and being the last one standing on my team in dodgeball until I inevitably get hot because I can't throw or catch for the life of me. Spear throwing was the best in my year at it. Playing goalie in soccer. I wasn't very good at keeping up with the other kids or taking the ball from the other team. So I got put in the goal and had some pretty cool saves. It was awesome. The other kids on my team were praising and complimenting me. Even if I messed up, they'd tell me it was okay and that I was playing well. Even the teacher said she was impressed. I always contrast that with my foray into Little League Baseball. The other kids made fun of me endlessly for a lisp I had, but I was working hard to overcome. I was stuck in right field most of the time, and when I went up to bat they would tell me not to swing. I know who I'm going to teach my daughters to be like. Everybody loves someone who plays goalie and actually tries their best regardless of how well they do. Part of what makes a sport fun to play is that everyone is actually trying. Generally, someone will be forced to play goalie and then they won't even attempt to stop anything, which kind of ruins the game. It's not as fun if the goals lose meaning. Goalies are and always will be loved and appreciated. Yes. It was my first year at my school and I quickly realized I had a knack at maneuvering the field. My professor quickly took notice and told the team captain. Before I knew it, I was the youngest seeker to ever play on the team, and I killed it out there. What are you, the next Harry Potter? Weightlifting. I'm not athletic in the slightest, but I was a very strong boy, could lift so much from all the machines some people were actually impressed. Long distance running. I didn't run fast, but I never stopped running. Floor hockey. I'm not a violent guy but when floor hockey came out a demon possessed me and I would check anyone or slap shins like a true hockey goon. Twas the only gym sport I actually scored points towards winning the game. One year I couldn't do any pull-ups, the next year I did 12. Madball. It was as close to dodgeball as they would really let us play against the other classes. I just liked to whelp other kids with the ball, and I was good at it. Frisbee. Why did it have to be frisbee? Volleyball. I loved playing, but found out our school only allowed girls on the team, even though we had male cheerleaders and female football players. I was really good at mopping off the wet shower floor. The teacher stimulated me by giving me a higher mark if I started mopping immediately after showering. I dried myself after mopping, so all wetness would stay in the showers. The teacher always watched me to make sure I hit every corner of the room. Giving stick and poke tattoos to my classmates. Not being picked for the team. You know, somehow I always came first to that. I bet all the other kids were jealous as FHCK at my raw natural talent. Soccer. For whatever reason in pair soccer I could outmaneuver just about anyone. Probably because all the actually good players weren't really trying in pair class, but it still made me feel good. Jump rope. I used to love jump rope, but PE totally destroyed what little confidence I ever had. I don't think I've ever had an ounce of confidence since 2nd grade. Thanks PE. You ruined my life. Getting on my phone and sitting down. Football. Was never really into it. Played more baseball than anything, and then we played it in pair. Tossing 50 to 60 yards easily. Kind of shocked me. Being a goalie during soccer. I blocked the ball from the best athlete in the class. Usually the ball didn't come my way, but when it did, I blocked it. Mind you, I was never really paying attention, and got lucky each time by managing to block it with my shoulder or face. Horseshoes and square dancing. Cup stacking. I held the record for fastest time in the entire school. Running. I was usually in the last 3 going during paces. My senior year I worked up to a 5:48 mile just by trying to beat my time from previous weeks. Then I stopped trying. I was never athletic or anything. I never did anything very active outside of pep. I could do a mean teddy bear roll. Bench press. I was benching 210 senior year of high school when I only weighed 123 pounds. Tripping while doing anything. I was 6 feet 0 by 7th grade. I still am, but I was then too. I don't know if you have this in the US, but I was really good at the beep test because I could run all day long. I used to beat the jocks every year, which was my only pair win apart from one term when I was surprisingly good at badminton. Oriente ring, which is weird cause nowadays I still frequently get lost in my own neighborhood. Javelin throwing. With every other activity I'm below par, yet I can yeet that pointy metal stick further than anyone else. I could jump surprisingly high for my height, and I was a beast at double dutch. Double dutch. It's the one and only thing where I actually have some coordination. Walking on stilts. I expected it to be more difficult for someone as clumsy as me. The 5Ds of dodgeball, though not so much the offense side. For being fat and one of the taller kids in our grade, I was usually really hard to hit. Archery. I took archery in pair and found I was really good at it. I now use my skills in hunting grounds. I've been using a bow for a good 3 years now and am now in freshman year of high school. Hunting is fun once you get the hang of it. Soccer. I hate sports beside hunting and fishing, especially soccer, but I'm not bad at it. Volleyball, especially since it was my first time playing. Soccer, never played in my life and I was pretty good. First week I got picked last, then the next week I got picked 4th. At a young age I realized that I was terrible at remembering to take my PE kit in on the required days. Luckily they made you use the smelly lost property I never learned. Hockey, never played in my life. That thing where you climb up the wall by jamming sticks into a track of holes. I had zero problems with that thing, up and down like lightning. My school has a specific class that at the end of the year starts an archery unit. I was surprised to see how I could actually hit the target, since during all of the other sports we played, I was practically a handicap to my teammates. I was one of the smallest kids in school, and I won a massive game of warball, ultimately taking out the oldest baddest kid in the school. It was epic. I can kick a ball pretty far, which was a tad strange for 5 feet 3, 200 pounds kid that barely exercised. Curl-ups. In the beginning of 6th grade I did 13, but then out of nowhere at the end it did maximum 80. I was good at an exercise where we jumped onto progressively higher boxes. I was taller than my classmates with strong legs. Floor hockey back in elementary. That's what got me started with playing ice hockey now. Slam ball, not the trampoline one, of course. Basically you just throw a basketball at the backboard, and if it bounces more than once, or you catch it before it bounces once, you're out. Floor hockey. I scored more goals than the people who actually played sports. I even won MVP at my summer camp and have my name engraved on a cup, despite the fact that I spent the championship carolling a partially blind and completely deaf dog and couldn't play. I was a beast at floor hockey. Terrible at jump rope. Tiered equity waterfall analysis. Handball, played it once in 8th grade, was pretty good, and absolutely loved it. Have not played a single game since.